fine.
Good. I have a case study for you today.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's another horrible internet video that I refuse to show you.
Okay.
So you know it's bad if I'm like, I'm not even going to show it to you.
Right.
Especially after the last couple that I sent you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the premise of what's happened. And then I'm going to break it open.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say, Dad, it was so embarrassing to watch. The whole basis of it. The reason it was embarrassing to watch was because I felt it was a poor reflection on Black culture, and it did not reflect the protocols of communication we use very well. So the premise was there is a quite popular panel discussion podcast, okay? And what they do is in this particular episode, because I'm not massively familiar with it, there is 4 Black women, 4 Black men, and they kind of go backwards and forwards with certain questions with regards to relationship, love, society, just all kinds of things. Anyway, this particular episode, they decided to speak about people's dating preferences. And there was one particular gentleman who went viral because he said that he doesn't date Black women. Fair enough, not an issue. When he went into the reasons that he doesn't date Black women, it became inflammatory.
Right.
And it became inflammatory to the place where that his reaction was so bad in terms of how would I put this? It's like, imagine you're lighting a candle on a birthday cake and you think it's a candle, but what you've really lit is dynamite. And then it just went kaboom. And I was listening to what he had to say, and the first thing that really caught me was he'd been cheated on. So he was holding you could see he was holding a certain amount of emotional pain from that. Now, what really took me by surprise was the fact of the circumstances that he was in, and that he didn't see any type of correlation between the circumstance and what happened. So he was in prison for 11 and a half years.
Okay.
And was having relationships whilst in prison. Now, to me personally, if you find yourself in incarceration and you're not married, then you're asking someone to do something that, especially in this day and age, Dad, a lot of this generation don't have the capacity to be that patient or to be that invested in a person that is not reciprocating what they're giving at that time. And so from that, he obviously, through certain, how would I put this? There are certain stereotypical behaviors that people will connect to certain people in different cultures and communities. So he was talking about the attitude that may sometimes meet him when he'd been in a relationship with Black women. He also spoke about the lack of being heard. Right? Now, the reason why that was a big thing to me was because he used that statement to then qualify that his mum was the greatest woman he'd ever known. But in the very next breath, he was just like, but I didn't enjoy the way that she behaved.
That didn't matter big.
So
she was the greatest, but you didn't enjoy the way she...
Dad, is that not the biggest contradiction?
Of course, yes.
Right? So at that point, I'm sitting there and I'm like, fruit and root.
Yeah.
Dad. So this man then says to this panel of ladies, he goes, okay, the biggest problem that he had was that he didn't enjoy when he had something to say, that when he felt he was in relationships with Black women, that they would shut him down and not allow him to speak. And very quickly, as he was making that statement, there was one lady, a part of the female panel, Dad, she jumped down his throat so quick. And up to that point, he was quite calm. Dad, I saw the switch turn.
Yeah. In
that very moment. And then I kind of watched as it escalated. And then there was a behind the scenes clip where his friend had taken him backstage, and Dad, he lost his mind. And he was shouting and he was going on, and then it was the same contradiction again. He's like, my mum's an empress, but if I don't like the way she goes on, why would I take the way you go on? And I was just like, okay. And at that point, I sat and I thought to myself, we're watching someone actually potentially going through an episode here.
Yeah.
And then the internet went crazy. Oh, Dad, they took that. And then what I thought was, it was almost Machiavellian genius, because the people that own the platform, we don't see them.
Right.
But the amount of money his little moment would have garnered them, that I'm talking, everybody's doing reaction videos to this. Black women around the world, Dad, have stopped what they were doing to be like, tap, 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 tap. And it's funny because as I was prepping this yesterday, a video came up of him. And I was like, oh, I can't. And I looked at his face and I was like, oh, wait there, this isn't the same as that. And then Dad, he was like, oh, yeah. Hi, guys. I just want to apologize. And, you know, my mental health has really taken a batter in the last couple of days. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I bet it has. But you could see that it almost was also like what I call damage control and damage limitation.
Yeah.
Now, after I got past what I would call the dog and pony show, Dad, my first thought was, okay, that reaction came from the triggering point of him not feeling heard.
Yeah.
And the triggering point of him not being heard can be traced to the root point of potentially the environment he grew up in.
Yeah.
And Dad, this is what really nailed it to the marsh meat. He said, when trying to describe his mum as an empress and a queen, which I, in my heart, no doubts to terms of what her circumstances was, she raised 5 boys on her own. Now, Dad, with that little bit of information, I'm now opening it up and I'm like, okay. And while the world is dealing with the fruit of his reaction, I wanted us to look at the root
of it,
of the cause. And immediately, the first thing I sat down and I said, right, if Ginger J was sitting with us, and imagine his name is Ginger J.
That's his name.
His name.
Wow.
Because he's a black man with ginger features, but he also went on to explain why. In the time of slavery, I think it was 3rd generation of his great-great-great-grandmother was, I think she would have been like a house slave. And the master was a guy called Francois, who was a red-headed man.
Yeah.
And if I have got this right, he would force himself upon his great-grandmother. Which meant that you've now got this kind of very unique trait now through this bloodline that doesn't necessarily match with, we don't really have many red-headed Nubians, right? So when I was listening to him, I'm like, this is like trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. And so it had me kind of sit down and go, okay, cool. If he was going to sit here, how would I outline the problem, cause, solution? Okay. And my first question I wanted to ask you is, Dad, what would you identify to be the problem?
I think a sense of rejection. I think that's one of the first things that I would see as his problem. He lived a life of rejection. You know, when you have 5 brothers,
well, 4 other siblings,
4 with himself, and there is a binding for attention. You see, and clearly he feel left out, are not heard as he feel he should. You know what I mean? So clearly he's carrying that in his mind, in his heart. You know what I mean? So he clearly suffering from that sense of rejection. So whenever time he meets anyone who does not immediately succumb to whatever he's proposing or saying to them,
Yeah.
then it triggers that
Reaction.
that kind of reaction. It brings him back to his past, and you can see the tantrum
Yes.
that he would have had in those days.
Yeah. That was just actually
Yeah,
manifesting
man,
itself.
exactly the point. And it might have been to the point where he's shocked that it was as in depth as the world have seen it.
Dad, he lost himself.
Right, and that is why he's you'll be coming back trying to sort of fix it if he could, but that's not how you fix it. A word of apology doesn't fix that kind of entrenched situation in a person.
Yeah.
He needs therapy.
Yeah, I hear you. So then if the problem is rejection, what would you then identify as the cause?
The cause is a single mother having to deal with five boys
Yeah.
on her own.
Yeah.
Having
to work.
Exactly. So there are going to be those who are different in personality.
Yeah.
And depending on the personality of each of them, she's going to be warming to others more than others.
And if he's already feeling a sense of rejection and he's then acting out in a worse way, then it's almost like the attention he gets comes from a toxic, negative place.
Indeed.
Because it's not for anything good.
Yeah, indeed. And the fact that he's trying to praise his mother, which in one sentence, and conflicting it in another sense, it shows that the real root is that he felt that where his mother is concerned, she was the one he blamed for not taking him serious, listening to him, give him place of preference in the whole scenario. And here he is growing up with it.
It's almost like I feel he attributes his value system according to how
he was treated, how he found himself. Because as a young child, you are trying very much to gravitate to anything that you can identify with or you feel is popular, you feel benefits you in one way or the other. And when you're not able to find it, and you look at others seems to be getting the better of a bad situation, really, then there's nothing, because there isn't another person. Because of the relationship is one-sided, you see, if mom don't like you, are not treating you as you think you should be, then normally you have the father who you would then gravitate to, or vice versa. But when you have only one, and the siblings themselves, depending on what age they are, feel that they're getting a better deal than he is, they're not going to relinquish their good deal to put him in that place.
Dad, do you know what the thing that really stuck out to me? That there was one particular female panelist who he became very personal with, and she became very personal with him. And what struck me was that there was neither any of the other three men on the panel with him, and actually to a lesser extent, because there was a couple of the women on the female panel that tried to say to the lady that was becoming what I call overreactive to kind of calm down.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got me...
So it was the men telling the lady to calm down, or was it the ladies telling the girl?
No, the ladies were telling...
the lady to calm down.
Because I think it had got so heightened, Dad, that anybody that I kind of think lives outside of the culture, they are looking at that like that's just an aggressive situation, right? Now, depending on what your experiences are within a certain environment, you can then, to one person, a level 5 aggression to them who kind of live relatively without any aggression in their environment, to another person that may not even measure at a level 1, Dad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the first thing that kind of scared me was like, okay, toxic communication is familiar to the majority of the people that are kind of sitting on this panel. It's something that's, even though it may not be a preference, it's almost like it's accepted.
Yeah.
Right? And when they were trying to speak to her to calm down, I could sense there were things that he was saying that also triggered her.
Of course.
Which meant that the very thing he was saying that he didn't like in his preference or his lack of preference towards black women.
Yeah.
Dad, you were seeing
was what's coming back at him.
And the worst thing is that when he tried to kind of lean in to be like, this is what I'm talking about, because he had done such a poor job, Dad, in firstly explaining what he was trying to explain, but also in not managing his own emotional palette. That's the thing that kind of sent everything kind of left. And so what I wanted to ask you was, if we've been able to identify the cause and the problem, then I put together like a series of questions that I think may make up the solution. And obviously anything that you hear or that you want to add or you think has been missing, please, Dad, at any point interject, because more than anything, the engagement with this situation has been ridiculous. And as I'd expect, and to a certain degree rightly so, I've seen a lot of women come out and say what they need to say. I want to help in a way, because much of what the commentary after the fact has been about, oh, what he said, and this is what we were talking about, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that's a broken man. That's a man that lacks identity. That's a man that has no anchor and has never been shown that. And the version he has been shown wasn't from another man. Primarily, right? In his primary place of learning and repetitions and models, Dad, that would have been probably from, well, depending on where he is within his sibling ranking, maybe an older brother, maybe an uncle or a grandfather, depending on whatever the relationship is. But based on what he was kind of ascribing some of his mum's attributes and characteristics to be like, I can imagine that maybe it wasn't the most consistent male figures in his life. So the first question I wanted to ask you was, how do you make peace with your past, Dad?
Okay. Before I address that,
yes,
if you notice on the panel, you said there were 8 people, right? You would have thought that the 3 women would have been more sympathetic.
You mean the 4? The 4 women.
The 3 women that were telling the other one to calm down.
Well, no, I'd say only 1.5 of the other 3 were telling the other one to calm down. There was one who was sat the far right, I'm not sure of her name, and she was actually asking the question to ask. Right? And then she could kind of see it going left, and she was just like, look, I think you need to just... And then there was another one that was like, yeah, calm down. And when she saw the other one had gone, she was just like, I'm going to leave you alone and let you do what you're doing.
So what immediately became apparent is that lady is not much different from the guy. Yes, I mean.
How so?
Because they both got triggered.
Oh yes. Agreed.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is why she herself, perhaps looking back at how her reaction was, would have been absolutely shocked.
And you know what triggered her? He called her out about her hair and her eyelashes. So on the basis of preferential of dating black women, when he was looking at her, Dad, the things he was calling out about her were what you would call, historically, she was magnifying European, what's the word I'm looking for? European characteristics within her appearance, right? So he was talking about the hair And for a lot of women, Dad, especially in our culture, that is just don't even go there. Just leave it all the way alone. Because women anyway are very sensitive about their hair, but especially in certain cultures and places. And Dad, the minute he did that and spoke about the hair and the eyelashes, that thing went to the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They were both triggered.
Yeah. So as a result, they both need solutions to their problem, even though they both don't recognize that they have problems.
He, I think, has had to come to the realization because the whole world's turned. But for her, she's not really in the.
No, because again, as I said, she probably feel that sympathy is on her side and justification for her reaction to what the world would perceive as negativity in that regard. So most people would be looking at it purely from that perspective. However, as I said, both of them has got their problem. So back to the question that you're asking.
How do you make peace with your past?
How do you make peace with your past? In such a case, it is you have to look at what it is that has characterized your past. In other words, from the time you were born to where you are now. All of the issues that we see on display came from the past.
Yeah.
So somebody would need to take him back or walk him back to those moments, those times, and ask the relevant question. How far back were you experience rejection? You feel rejected by your, in this case, mother, which of course cultivate his perception on women in that regard. So that is where you'd have to go back and look at it. If he's able to speak to his mother or a person who have the experience would understand straight out where and how it all began. Now, for it to be so tragic, I would immediately identify it as something started, were happening between the age of 0 and 5.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
Right? Because it does now form part of his character.
Yeah, it's a cornerstone
In the,
of Dad.
yes.
It's a cornerstone
Yeah.
of who he's built himself to be.
Indeed. And he's trying to find something or someone who can vindicate him, give him the kind of attention that he feel he needs, and therefore that is why he feel, okay, I'm not going to get it from my particular culture because it is my culture in his view who has created this kind of condition within himself. So that is where it is. So in such a case, then one has to really understand how these things happen and to get him to understand that his life does not consist of 0 to 5.
Yeah,
It's
bigger than that. Yeah,
it's far more important than that. And because of the experience he's had, it has suppressed the real person.
Yes.
You get what I mean? And what you're seeing is not the real person, it's an adapted person.
Dad, there was one point where he became so animated,
Yeah.
So they have like a little studio audience in there, and he's kind of looking at the guys to talk to them to be like, you get what I'm saying? And they're kind of like, brother, even if we understood and agreed, you have rowed so far out to sea, there is no way we are coming to meet you with anything. And then he's looking at the studio audience, and there's a couple of men in the front as well, and they're kind of looking at him like, good luck trying to come back from this. This will be a greater resurrection than Lazarus.
Indeed.
Dad. And then you've obviously got the women over there. And Dad, there was a point where I looked in his face, and Dad, if I could, I would have just been like, let me give you a hug. Dad, let me tell you why. Because if he had been given a hug and shown love in that moment, Dad, he would have cried like he was
Well, I
five.
mean, that's what would have
And
happened.
until he releases that,
Yeah.
Dad,
Yeah.
and he hasn't, because of who he's built himself to be, he can't show that level of vulnerability. And it's almost like, it's like you said, that he needs to go back to that place
Yeah.
to deal with that little boy that is still scared
Of course.
and is still hurt
Yeah. And aggressive.
and aggressive. And in my mind, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, a mother in that position having to raise that amount of sons, and then potentially the dynamic between the mother and the father, and then sometimes the game playing that victimizes children.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
he's a victim of his past.
she may feel that the father could do more and he's not, so you're not going to see him. And then she's not going to tell the boys who are waiting for their father to come why they're not seeing him. So in their mind, he just couldn't be bothered.
That's right. Yeah.
And yeah, Dad, honestly, it was such a visceral feeling where I just wanted to be like, he needs to know what love and security feels like.
Yeah.
But Dad, the next question I wanted to ask you, providing that you'd finished with that little point.
Yes. No, I think that's where it would have to be. It would have to be the starting point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, a lot of people, especially in this case, men, that lady also in the same boat, to be honest. Is boat maybe a little bit smaller, but she's in the boat.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's in the yacht, she's in the dinghy, Dad. And the dinghy's pulling, the yacht's pulling the dinghy,
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes, indeed. And so such a person have to understand that their life is not based
Yeah.
on their vulnerable past, or the fact
Say that one more time.
that they have to understand that their life is not based on their vulnerable past.
Wow.
You know, because in most people's mind, their past is from birth to where they are, or to it's, I mean, that is yesterday.
To the present moment.
Yeah, that's what most people think about it. And when they find themselves backed up with situations that victimize them, they don't know where to go. You see, because nobody's going to tell them how to eliminate that situation. You see, now there are those who will tell them how to try to suppress it, but you see, is when you are being told to suppress it and something triggers it, the explosion comes happening again.
Because the pressure's still, it's not.
It hasn't gone anywhere, it's just being suppressed. You see, and that is where he's now trying to do what he has done in the past, re-suppress it again with a bit of apologies, because he felt think it's going to cause him to be seen in such a bad way, which is what he has been living with, and now he
When
just
I say the comments have been
brutal.
oh my gosh, Dad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he would have to understand that yes, he's a victim, and because he's a victim, there is hope for him, but he has to look beyond the birth, even the birth canal. He has to go back to purpose. You know, that is.
What you're actually saying is he needs healing in his spirit.
He needs healing in his mind. In particular, because what you're looking at is soul reaction.
Yeah.
You see, so if he need to grasp who he is in his mind, then he has to go back to his purpose. You see, because his purpose is already there.
But he'll say he doesn't know what his purpose is. He'll say he doesn't know what his purpose
is. No, he wouldn't, because nobody has ever taken beyond his birth. It's easier. That's the problem with a lot of people. They do not look beyond their birth. You see, and that's why many lose sight of who they really are. And that is why the world is, it's the way it is.
How do you look at purpose beyond your birth, Dad?
Number one, 9 months you spent in the womb.
Right.
What were you doing? What was happening in that 9 months? Creativity was taking place in that 9 months. whoever was creating, we know who it was, but let's say that the process of creation, I mean, was putting in you your DNA, putting in you what are the things that is going to characterize, are the reason for your coming into this world. So somebody has to help him. Now it's there, but unless one understands this process, then it's going to be hard for people because you don't regularly learn these things in the classroom. You see what I mean? Now, what most people learn as psychologists and psychiatrists is the written things that they are told following certain behavioral pattern, and it enables people to suppress rather than to eliminate. What the spiritual psychologist does, he tell you how to eliminate what has come about to victimize you and help you to understand that that was never your purpose.
Yeah.
And it is only that, and it brings balance to the person's thinking, and then recognize that, okay, because the oven burned me, it don't mean that the oven,
Evil.
is evil, or I have to get rid of it out of my life permanently. I just need to understand how to avoid being burnt
Yeah.
by the oven and use it for the purpose for which it is created.
Dad, how does he get to the place of forgiving his mum?
Forgiving his mom, again, he has to understand that she herself is a victim of circumstances. She never get involved with that man to then be left with 5 children all on her own.
Yeah.
That was never her intention. But yet here she is facing it. So therefore, she is a victim. And it's only when him in particular understand that, look, you are seeing your mother as the cause of your problem, rather than seeing her as being a victim of her past.
She's a fruit of the
Exactly the point.
greater issue.
And so, in so doing, it's only when you come down to that understanding, then you're going to say, okay, mother, I was only being self-centered. I was only thinking about me. I was only thinking about what I desire, what I want, how I want it, but never thought about the trauma that you having to deal with. Going to bed, having 5 boys who you got to provide for, don't know sometime where the next meal is coming from. There's a man out there who, a participator in their coming into this world, not playing his role as he should. Anger builds up. And if somebody have any kind of resemblance, any of those children have any resemblance of the father, then every time she looks at him,
She sees a man. Yeah.
you see,
And they're never going to know the workings of her mind. They're just going to see rejection and resentment.
indeed. So that is what now, when you help him to understand,
Yeah.
then he can go and they say, okay, now let's heal my past.
Last question, because we need to get you out of here. How do you recreate trust and safety after it's been compromised?
It's gonna be truth. Truth is the greatest healer.
Say that one more time.
It's gonna take truth, because truth is the greatest healer.
Why, Dad?
Because truth brings balance to a situation that leads to misunderstanding.
Truth brings balance to
situation that leads to misunderstanding.
You don't even have to say anything else. I mean, if you want to, feel
No,
free.
no, that is what it is.
Truth brings balance to situations
That lead to misunderstanding. So every apology, every restoration, everything, all people want to know, what is the truth in it.
I went to grab a coffee this morning and I was walking past C3 and I saw a man sat on the window ledge next to where they put out some of their free food. That I've never seen dejection like it in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna allude to something here that I normally wouldn't, because I'm very careful not to say the wrong thing because our platform's so public. But I want to. This was an old white man. And I'm not going to behave as though society is equal and fair, because it's not, Dad. It's not, right? There are certain people that have access to more. There are some people that have to make do with less.
Yeah.
Historically, especially in our city, when a person that has always had access to more
Yes.
looks like they have less than less.
Yes.
And Dad, I look at so many men lost.
Oh, yes.
Dad. And I'm not blaming women or the women in their life, but there's a whole generation of women that it's almost like, and this is going to sound wild, I'm going to use it. It's almost the way that demons try to inhabit human bodies.
You're right.
And these women control these men.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm thinking, this is a guy that I know that will frequent mass public spaces. And there will be men that probably even agree and have dealt with some of what he's dealt with. And because of what they're connected to, in their ear, and will force those men to behave in a way to him.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it this morning, I was like, okay, I can either lean into the thing that most people say, oh, black women are the greatest women, I believe all of that. I agree with all of that. But in that moment, that was not what needed to be fixed,
Indeed.
Dad. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was not what needed to be fixed. And the basis of our platform is, I want to empower, encourage, and regenerate all men.
You're right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not, there's not just it's not just a culture or a class or no, because I understand we were all made in the image of God.
That's right.
Which means that we were all purposed, set. There is a plan. And to every plan, there's a spoiler, Dad.
Yeah. I think in cases like that, and in general, where men is concerned, they absolutely miss the transition that is going on.
We're meant to be finishing.
Yeah.
No, it's good though. No. It's brilliant what you're saying.
They miss the transition. You see, for women, they're going forward to what they wanted.
Yeah.
For men, they're going backward from what they were. And when you're caught in between, then that is what they don't know what to do, where to go, where to turn. They, as I said, unless they have the chance to sit down and listen to something like this, to realize that the society, technologically and otherwise, now in favor of more subtle approach to work, to job, which most men are not used to.
No, they're not.
So that's where you have the regression. While for the ladies it's progression.
Right.
You know what I mean? And therefore they're happy with the progression. And seeing where before it was reliance on the man.
Yeah. Now it's on themselves.
Indeed.
They don't need
and now you got women with the millions.
Yeah.
And the millions.
The high-powered jobs.
And the billions. So you as a man who, by virtue of who you are, were expected to be the provider, to be the breadwinner, to be the creator. And when you haven't got what to create with, because system and society has taken it away from you.
Changed, yeah. You're now the executive of the system.
Exactly. They don't know how to survive in this kind of environment. And that is why so many people are in the state that they're in, and potential leading to anarchy, once it's find the right environment. You see what I mean? So, say for example, from a cultural perspective, and I'm not now talking about even the last two generations. I'm talking before that. You grew up in a culture of survival, where you learn to survive.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And as soon as something changed, even if you were making progress, you suddenly draw back into survival mode. Now, for another culture, that was not how it has been for centuries.
Nearing millennia.
Millennia, exactly. And here they are now exposed to something that, it's hard for them to have a reference point. Really. Because the last time there was a reference point, everybody jumped onto a boat and decided we're going to go and conquer the world. It's to maintain that perception.
Dad, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you to everybody that has taken the time to share this episode with us. Please like, subscribe, share. If you like what we do and you want to support, we have our PayPal.me, our Patreon, and all the other ways that you can get involved. Also, please do download. We are on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon. And yeah, you can get as much of this as you want to. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Okay. Stay blessed.
Your purpose was set before the circumstance happened that changed everything within your environment. So you are not the cause of what you went through. Sometimes we become victims of our situation simply because we were put in that environment and we weren't given any protection or covering. However, what you went through doesn't define you. It was set there so that it could become a platform for you to be and become who you were supposed to be. A cornerstone upon which you stand upon on firm ground to understand that you have within yourself the character, the fortitude and the strength to overcome everything. And more than that there is a God who purposed, coded, and set a plan for you and would see it come forth and come to fruition in real time. How? Through relationship with him, as he then expresses his divine will through you in the visual world to the world. So remember, we're all going to go through things that we never planned to, wanted to, or would have even preferred to go through. But it's not the things that you go through that define you, it's how you come out and the wisdom that you learn through it that does. Because that then becomes the expert information that allows you to make better decisions, not just today, but tomorrow, next week, next year. So in everything you do, remember, always hold empathy, always look to see beyond what you can see so that you can understand what's happening in the places where our vulnerability lays. Don't forget, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye, guys.